Hello everyone and welcome to Grand Prix Sunday here in Sweden. And on pole position for today's race, it is, for the first time this season, not a West Sussex racing driver. Instead, it's the Trackhouse racing driver, Charles Leclerc, who will lead us away. Second on the grid, though, is still one of the WSR cars. It's Colin Turkington, though, yet to win this season. Third place on the grid, it is Carlos Sainz, with Charles Rainford, the man who is unbeaten so far this season, lining up in fourth place. Can he charge his way to the front and take a fourth consecutive win? Behind him, Lewis Hamilton still searching for his first points of the season. Unbelievably consistent run so far, yet to quite break into the top 10 though. Behind him, it is Lando Norris for Nexus Racing, with Yuki Tsunoda behind him for Repsol Peugeot. The second of the Nexus drivers, George Russell, lines up in the 8th position, with Paul Aron, the winner from yesterday's GPM1 race, lining up in 9th place to his second start of the season here in the Grand Prix. Behind him on the grid, running up to the top 10, it is Nico Hülkenberg, with Scott McLaughlin, teammate to the pole sitter, lining up in 11th position. Fernando Alonso, 12th spot, his second Grand Prix start of the season, after finishing runner-up in the GPM2 race. Just behind him, fresh off of his first points of the season, it is Kyle Kirkwood for Fingal Motorsport, with Pascal Wehrlein lining up just behind him in 14th position as Panfera Autosport still looking for their first points of the season. Behind him, Sergio Perez, just 1 point to his name so far this season. Pierre Gasly, 10 points scored in the season opener, yet to score since then. Oscar Piastri lined up in the top 5 last time out, this time starting all the way back down in 17th position, with Sebastian Vettel, an absolute storming drive from him yesterday to qualify into today's race, lining up in 18th and 19th on the grid. It is Carson Hocevar looking to try and climb all the way up into the top 10 to score his first points of the season. That is how they line up. Let's see how it goes. As the 5 red lights are ablaze, the revs rise and we are racing and are underway in Sweden, and it's a strong start for Leclerc. Turkington, the more powerful factory BMW engine, powering him into the inside line there. Will that be enough to try and take the lead away? Leclerc holding on around the outside a little bit wide on exit, and it's going to be Turkington who will try and take this lead away. Leclerc slots back in to second position behind them. Rainford a little bit wide, did get up into third spot. Will that leave him vulnerable though now, as Norris looks to try and take that position away from him, squeezing his way down the inside, and it is Norris up in to the top 3 here. Strong start from the British driver, already up 3 positions in this race. Rainford holding his ground at the moment. Carlos Sainz dropping back a couple of spots there for Fast Formula Racing, down into 5th position. Russell up a couple of spots as well there for Nexus. Nexus proving to be strong off the line here so far today. Alonso, meanwhile, battling away with Nico Hülkenberg and moving up into 9th position. Behind them, Pascal Wehrlein with a very strong start up into 11th position as he looks to try and score his first points of the season. Hamilton in 7th, further up at the front of the field. It's all pretty much single file as they head into the hairpin for the first time today, and it's Paul Aron on the inside of Pascal Wehrlein for 11th spot, swapping around there. Aron looking for his first points of the season in just his second Grand Prix start. Carson Hocevar with a strong start, up 4 positions into 15th spot. But as we look at the leaders as they come across the line, it is Colin Turkington that will lead the way as he looks for his first Grand Prix victory of the season. Missed out on the podium for the first time in the last race. It doesn't look like that's going to happen though here today as they head into the hairpin. It's side by side there. That's Tsunoda making a move on Lewis Hamilton for 7th position. Can he get it completed here as they curve their way through the tight downhill hairpin? It is Tsunoda up into 7th spot as George Russell now looking to try and take a top 5 position away from Carlos Sainz. Sainz started in 3rd spot, down all the way into 6th spot here. If Russell can complete this pass, which is exactly what he is going to do there, that may even lead Sainz vulnerable to Tsunoda on corner exit. Alonso, meanwhile, up into 8th position now for the Monster Energy driver, up in ahead there of Lewis Hamilton, dropping back yet another spot, down 4 spots from his top 5 starting position here, as this group of cars looks as though it's single-filed out a little bit, so they're not quite close enough to make something happen to turn 1. Russell in 5th position, can he reel in to the top 4 drivers here, as it's Turkington leading Leclerc and Norris. Norris looking to try and swap those 2 positions around there. Norris with a good run coming into the hairpin. Will it be enough though? Later on the brakes for the British driver, down the inside and up into 2nd second position through on Charles Leclerc. Now he will have his sights set on Colin Turkington out front in the lead here, as that's Tsunoda making a bold pass on Sainz. Two Spanish drivers there battling out for 7th and 8th positions just behind them. That could be an interesting one to watch as we head into turn number 1. It's Charles Rainford not sitting around any time soon, up into 3rd position. Charles Rainford looking to try and at least keep up his podium streak. Can he keep up the winning streak though? 2 more cars to pass if he wants to do just that, as we are now only on lap 6 of 24, only a quarter distance here, and Tsunoda already just continuing his battle with Carlos Sainz in to the hairpin. Can he get this pass done here? Sainz managed to find a way back past into turn 1. Tsunoda able to retake that position though once more, leaving Sainz once again to do battle with his compatriot there. Alonso in 8th position, looking to try and get another couple of spots up the order here, as Norris is looking mighty close to the race leader into turn number 1. It's Norris to the inside. Can he do it? Can he finally take the lead away from WSR? He can. It's Lando Norris for the first time this season. WSR do not lead the Grand Prix. Lando Norris and Nexus Racing are out front here in Sweden as Sainz retakes that position from Yuki Tsunoda. The battle will continue though, I'm sure, for the rest of this race. Still 3 quarters to go. Sainz trying to fend off Tsunoda, getting awfully close to the back of Russell as well here into the hairpin. He's going to try and make this move happen back into the top 5 for Carlos Sainz. As we look back to the lead duo, Turkington is right on the tail, and he's not going to go down without a fight here. Of course he isn't. West Sussex Racing have been the dominant force so far this season, and this does not mean that that is going to change just because they made on a lead lap. It's going to be Turkington who retakes the lead, but Norris is not going anywhere. This battle is looking set to go on and on and on here in this race. Turkington on those Goodyear tyres. They are better in qualifying. They are better early in a race. The Michelin on the car of Lando Norris could prove to be an advantage at full race distance, and unlike previous rounds this season, it's looking much easier to get the passes done. Norris back into the lead of this Grand Prix. Turkington down to 2nd, Rainford in 3rd. Could we even see a battle there between those two at some point in this race, as Leclerc has got a bit of a swarm of drivers on his tail here. George Russell and then Yuki Tsunoda both going to move up into the top 5 positions here. Leclerc trying to fight it out on the outside, but the pole sitter, just like in GPM2, fading back in the Grand Prix. He's dropped down into 6th position now and losing spots at a speed he would not be especially comfortable with. But George Russell into 4th spot. Can he hold on here to this position from Tsunoda, who has been one of the stars of the season so far, I have to say. Outside of the main contender, Tsunoda, very impressive, and it's looking like he is going to do the same here again. To the inside of George Russell into turn number 1. And Repsol Peugeot got a car in the top 4 here. Looking at very, very fast indeed on this day, as Turkington has managed to battle back past Lando Norris into turn number 1, though Norris fighting back to the inside, gonna try and take the lead away once more as we approach the halfway point of this one. The battle is not going anywhere here. Turkington to 2nd once more. Rainford watching on for now, wondering perhaps can he find a way past, as Russell is going to repass Tsunoda for the 4th position, and I expect to see a lot of that in this race. Lot of toing and throwing. The pace required to get past your rival is not that big of an advantage needed, so the slipstream is enough to pull you past, and Tsunoda is going to return the serve back to George Russell there. Into 4th position goes the Japanese driver for the French team. He moves to that top 4 position. A massive gap, though, it has to be said, to the top 3 who are already heading to turn number 1 here, and Turkington to the inside of turn number 1. It's going to be Colin on the inside of Lando, wheel to wheel and exit, and once again, the exit there always seems to favour the driver on the inside. The grip just isn't to be found on the outside line of this first corner. Tsunoda is probably about to find out the same there, as there was a touch between the two drivers there through the first corner there, and Tsunoda will lose the position, but not for long here, as lap 13 of 24 rolls around, and once again, the roles are reversed. Tsunoda this time is the one making the pass on Russell, and through into the top 4 once again here, as the battle for the lead is getting awfully close out of the tunnel and into the light once again. The hairpin has been a popular overtaking zone at the end of the lap. Norris just about to squeeze his car down at the inside line and through once more. Lando Norris to the lead of this Grand Prix. Turkington just cannot shake him off. Rainford yet to find a way into this battle. It seems stuck watching on for now, but as I say that, the slipstream brings him level into the first corner. Turkington looking for the lead once more. Rainford right on his tail, and it's going to be oh so close into the first corner here, and it's Norris slightly wide an exit. Could that be an opportunity for Rainford? Not quite, but on the next lap Norris is going to try and take the lead away once again here to the inside. It's going to be Norris wheel to wheel with Turkington, and once again they swap around. Just 7 laps remain now in this race, and the lead is swapping backwards and forwards with every lap that these drivers manage to complete. It is incredible stuff. Any big contact and this could be thrown completely up in the air, but for now they're keeping it clean as Turkington will use the slipstream to get back through into the lead here. Lap 18 of 24, just a quarter of this race left to run. And it is getting very, very feisty at the front and throughout the field, it has to be said there. Alonso currently holding on to the final spot in the top 8. Top 10, of course, scoring points in this one. Hulkenberg to the inside there. Paul Aron looking to try and take his first points in GPM1. Alonso looking to try and score points for the second time this season. Aron will make the pass slow up into 9th spot. The Estonian driver makes the move stick. Hulkenberg into 8th spot just behind his teammate now. Going to have to try and reel in that gap though, because these drivers here are very feisty indeed, as Carsten Hocevar in 11th spot there, yet to score points this season. Didn't think we'd see the day, but he is on the verge of points at the moment. But he does have a few drivers all requiring him to pass if he would like to try and get a point from this one. Tsunoda back into 4th spot here. Him and Russell just continuing to go at it lap after lap after lap as the top 3. I thought we were going to say single file there, but Norris did have a little bit of a look at Turkington as they head through turn number 1, and it looks like we've got traffic, everyone's favourite. Little bit of spice to throw into the mix, and look, Turkington held up out of turn number 1. Perez blocks the leader. Through goes Norris at a very unconventional part of the lap there. Rainford on to the tail of his teammate as they come through this middle part of the lap. Perez really not going down without a fight here. Should really be abiding by the blue flags, but it seems like he's got his own idea of what they are meaning at the moment. Rainford through into 3rd spot over Perez, a lap down car, but he had to work for that position nonetheless. It seems Piastri now next up to go a lap down. Norris will get a relatively easy pass done down into the corner before the back straight as Tsunoda is side by side with Russell once more. Nice, comfortable battle for these two, really in the middle of nowhere. Those two are off on their own race, it seems, at the moment, as Rainford sends it to the inside on Turkington for 2nd position. Is he quite able to get the overlap? Turkington runs wide, and through goes Rainford to 2nd. Surely not. Can he do it? 4 wins in a row. It's 1 more position separating him from the race lead. Can he do the unbelievable here? Tsunoda battling away with Russell still. These two are in their own race, quite frankly. They're just hoping something might happen ahead of them. The podium is a huge distance away up the road, but these two are racing like it is for victory themselves as Alonso into the pits. So is Aron, the 2 drivers who are putting in a brilliant performance to try and score points from their GPM2 qualifications, both into the pit lane. And now that's Kirkwood into 9th spot. Hocevar in to 10th. Make that 9th as he passes Kirkwood. Sainz and Hulkenberg do battle, the 2 teammates battling it out for a position in the top 7 here, but Hocevar is through into 9th place meanwhile, looking for his first point of the season. He started dead last in this race. I did not expect to see him anywhere near the points in this one. Russell, meanwhile, on the inside of Hocevar's teammate Tsunoda. This Repsol Peugeot is looking to be a mighty, mighty car here, and the way things are going, a Grand Prix victory obviously isn't going to happen today unless something catastrophically goes wrong at the front of the field. But it could be in their future here as Tsunoda continues to battle it out with George Russell into turn number 1. He's going to have the inside line on the penultimate lap of the race. Tsunoda through on George Russell, and he will take that spot away. He's got one more chance, really, to try and swap those positions around once more, as Hocevar isn't settling for 9th position. He's going to the inside now. He has caused chaos this season so far, in pre-season especially, causing huge drama and real implications for many drivers involved. Now, he has finally put together a clean round. He's up into the top 8 here. He crashed in qualifying. He started dead last. What is going on in this Grand Prix? It's up into 8th spot for the American driver for Repsol Peugeot. But meanwhile, at the front of the field, Lando Norris has managed to put in some astonishing lap times on the final few laps of this race and has managed to stop Rainford even getting a sniff at this victory in the end. They are going to prove that it can be done. Rainford reigns supreme no longer. Lando Norris wins the Swedish Grand Prix for Nexus Racing. What a drive. What a battle. What a race. I was really starting to wonder if it could be done. Well, we have our answer. It can indeed. Lando Norris beats Charles Rainford by just a 10th of a second in the end. Colin Turkington finishes 3rd. He had the lead for a lot of that race, but in the end, unfortunate with traffic, just about lost that position to his teammate. What a race, though. Incredible battle between those top 3. Lovely, lovely stuff. Sonoda and Russell, they were in their own postcode, frankly. They had a 20-second gap in front and a 20-second gap behind. They had their own private bit of racetrack, and they made good use of it. They put on a hell of a show as well for the fans. 6th spot goes to Carlos Sainz. He just managed to nab that position away from Charles Leclerc in the end. Carson Hocevar, 8th place. Repsol Peugeot double points here today, but Carson Hocevar got points. I really didn't think I would see the day that would happen. What a race from the young American driver, all the way up from the back of the grid. Nico Hülkenberg 2 points for Fast Formula Racing, and Kyle Kirkwood back-to-back points for Fingal Motorsport, another driver who really wasn't a favourite to score points this season, and yet he has managed to do it, and not just that, he's done it twice now. Lovely, lovely stuff from him. The American drivers really showing out today here in Sweden. Just missing out on points though, sadly. Couldn't quite make it points on GPM1 debut for Sebastian Vettel. 11th spot only for him in the end, but nonetheless a very impressive drive, up 8 places from his starting position. What a drive from so many drivers in that race. What a race. I just hope we get more of that in the next one. It will come as no surprise who the championship leader is after that race, despite finishing in a lowly 2nd place. Charles Rainford still leads the way, but now only by 26 points, which is still quite a few points, but less than I expected it to be, if I'm completely honest. A very impressive win from Norris, now puts him on to 67 points. Turkington, no surprise, in 3rd. George Russell, best of the rest. It's all WSR and Nexus Racing in the top 4 positions. But then it is Yuki Tsunoda who sits in 5th spot, just ahead of the pole sitter today, Charles Leclerc, who dropped back down the order. Carlos Sainz, 7th, Antonelli in 8th spot, despite not being in today's race. Pierre Gasly, 9th still, despite not scoring points since the season opener. Nico Hülkenberg quietly scoring points pretty much every round this season. Fernando Alonso, that damage for him just costing him a chance to get another point on the board. He sits 11th spot. Carson Hocevar, 4 points to his name now, jumps up to 12th in the standings. Behind him, it is Kyle Kirkwood with 2 points to his name. Sergio Perez, still just the 1 point for him. And Lewis Hamilton, once again, has just missed out on points. He has finished twice in 11th spot and twice in 12th spot. An 11.5 average finish, and he has not got a point to his name. Very strange indeed, but that is racing. That is how this works. Meanwhile, in the constructor standings, again, no surprise who the top spot belongs to. West Sussex Racing, 40 points ahead of Nexus. Then a chasm, 65-point gap between 2nd and 3rd. But then just a 6-point gap. Peugeot ahead of Trackhouse. Fast Formula, then just another 5 points back from them. Fingal Motorsport on 12 points so far. Braun GP with 1 point to their name, courtesy of Sergio Perez earlier in the season. And Panthera Autosport, their wait continues, still yet to score a point in GPM1. And crucially for them, they are in that relegation spot. But also, importantly, only 1 point away from safety. Of course, a long, long way to go in this season, but to say you're in the relegation zone and only 1 point away from getting out of it, that's not that bad. I think that certainly some teams would have taken that at this stage of the season, so it's very close at the back there. Fingal Motorsport, 12 points to their name. You'd think at this rate they are going to be relatively comfortable. It looks like they are pulling themselves out of that battle. They seem to be able to score points relatively regularly. Brawn GP and Panfera Autosport, though, they could be the two teams battling it out to try and fight for survival, so keep an eye on those over the coming rounds. Next time out, we go to Goodwood for the British Grand Prix, home Grand Prix for many of the teams and drivers, and who knows what we may see. The first low downforce track of the season. Could we see someone new once again on the top step of the podium, or will it be a return to normality? We'll have to wait and see. Join us then in 2 weeks' time, but thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.